All right. All right. All right. I'm just getting things started up here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting things started up here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting things started up here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting things started up here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting things started up here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm just getting things started up here, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Yo, how's it going?
It's going
Hey,
great. How
how's
are
it
you?
going?
Good. Welcome in. We're just getting
going
started
great.
up
How
right
are
now.
you?
So this Zoom call is gonna be like broadcasted to YouTube right now. So that's what's gonna be like kind of recorded. People are gonna go back and look at it and stuff like that. But right now, I mean, you're the first guest. I'm super excited to have you on. So sick. What you been up to today?
I think it's just I had a panel before this as well. And yeah, before that, I was just kind of chilling, taking it easy because I was out for a bit last night. So yeah, what about you? Have you How have you been?
I've been
For a
good. I've
bit
been good.
last
Just
night.
woke up and got ready for
Yeah, what about
this.
you? Have you
John, he's having
how have you
he
been?
has like a stuffy nose, like a sore throat or something like that. So he's running to get some medicine right now. But otherwise, we're ready to roll. So I'm super stoked you came on, guys. So those of you watching, if you don't know who she is, this is the community manager for the World of Women. One of the largest communities out there, one of the oldest communities, with a super cool mission. So it's a treat for us to have her here. Kathy, tell us how'd you get into NFTs? How'd you get started? Like how'd you end up where you're at right now?
So the reason why I was sort of attracted to the idea of NFTs is because I've always worked with artists and I've always sort of understood where they're coming from and what their perspective is on selling their work. And I just saw this opportunity with NFTs where they can like really make an income and get paid for their work. So I was intrigued by this whole concept because I live in India and artists pretty much don't get paid for shit here.
Mhm.
So yeah, so just seeing people's big sale happen was a huge eye opener, and that's when I think I officially converted into like a Web3 enthusiast. But then I also started like I've been interning since I was 16, doing social media for people, taking on clients. And because I was in this world, I obviously knew who Gary Vaynerchuk was, right? And when he started talking about NFTs as well, I was like, okay, something's definitely happening in this space, and I want to pay attention. And just because I was paying attention and because I was kind of all right at helping people out, the VFriends team brought me on as a mod, and I still mod there, but that was sort of like my first exposure to community management. 2 to 3 months later, I discovered World of Women through Twitter. It was pre-launch, and I loved everything that was about because as a woman in NFTs, we never really saw art that represented us or had a safe space where we could just talk about what it's like because we're
Yeah.
severely outnumbered by the bros. And I have a lot of love for the bros, but I need my like women as well and my girlfriends. And World of Women is where I found that. And it's the community that sort of evolved into my home base. And when the founders were recruiting, they thought of me, and here we are.
That's good. That's good. So how long you say it's been since you joined that community?
Well,
That's good.
I
That's
joined
good. So how
in
long you
like
say it's been since
July, I guess, like
you
before the
joined that
project minted
community?
out. And I was in the team officially by like October end. No, September end. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do you think is the biggest thing that World of Women's done that other people aren't doing that's made them so successful? Okay,
Listening,
cool.
like we genuinely listen to our community
What do you
on
think's
a
the
daily
biggest thing
basis.
that
This
World of
doesn't mean
Women's
that we
done
execute on
that other
every
people
single
aren't
piece of
doing
feedback
that's
that's
made them so
delivered to us,
successful?
but we
Okay.
always listen and we empathize with the people who are sharing that. And that's one of the main things about World of Women that people appreciate because it's a space where you will be heard regardless of your age, race, gender, socio-economic status. This is a place where you can come and share your ideas.
That's
And just doing that is something that we do differently. And another thing is that it's a very art centric project. So, on a daily basis, we're collecting stuff from emerging artists, small ones as well. They're like, oh my God, World of Women bought my first piece of art. And it means a lot to them, right? So, just having micro impact for our macro goals is something that we're doing every day.
That's super cool. That's super
Stuff
cool.
from
So
emerging
you said like
artists,
listening is the main thing that
small
World of
ones
Woman
as
does
well. They're
that
like, oh my God,
has
World of
led to their
Women bought my
success. What's
first piece of
something
art.
just in
And
the
it
NFT
means a
space
lot to them,
overall,
right?
like the broad
So just
NFT space that
having
you think we need to
micro
see more of?
impact for our macro goals is something that we're doing every day. I
That's super
think
cool. That's super cool. So you
we need to
said like
see
listening is the main thing
more
that World of
of
Woman does
I
that
those
has
things.
led to
Okay,
their
I'll tell you what we
success.
need to
What's
see less
something
of is
just in the
focus
NFT
on
space
like
overall,
financial returns and like floor prices.
like the broad
Everyone's
NFT
so
space that you think we need to
focused
see more of?
on the micro value of certain assets that it gets in the way of how you engage with the community. I've seen this happen in every single community that I'm in, every NFT that I hold. I love what the team is doing, but I just see so much pressure from like a subset of community members that like, hey, why don't you airdrop us some free shit that goes to the moon instantly? Or just have these crazy expectations. Like that's something that we need to see less of. So I guess what we need to see more of is just genuine engagement. Like when you buy an NFT, you're joining the community, but it doesn't end at that. You are responsible because having that NFT means that you're an ambassador for that community, especially if you rep it as your PFP. So think of ways in which you can provide value to those community members because that is an ultimate reflection of the brand, right? And
Mhm.
its core values. So I guess what we need to when you join in, don't just think that, okay, what's the team going to do to, increase the value? You as a community member are also responsible to provide value and to receive value as well, because you're entitled to it. Like it's about value exchange for me. And that's what I don't see enough of right now.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think? What do you think is the path to get there? How do we get there? Because obviously, I mean, NFTs really started like the reason everybody like to be honest the reason pretty much most people got into NFTs is because of money, right? Like they saw, oh, like these monkeys are going to the moon, like $100,000, millions of dollars people are making, and that's what originally attracted everybody to the space. So what do you see, like what can projects do to create a more organic community where like I feel like it's a hard thing to do, right? As a founder myself, hard. You're always going to have people who are focused on the floor price, right? Like
Yeah.
regardless, like as long as it is a factor, it's going to be a big thing people are going to focus on no matter what. So what do you say is like the best way that we get out of that or like move away from it? How can we like make that change happen?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't figured it out myself either. It's just something that I want to see in this space. But I guess what does work is, firstly, I want to clarify that that money is not evil. It's good to make a return on your investment. It's good to see your assets go up, to cash out at the right time. If it's something that contributes to your life, it's great. But I think it's also your responsibility to give back. So just encouraging that culture of giving back, rewarding community members for giving back. So, maybe you do a community member spotlight and give them a shout out for doing something good, or you invite them to one of your Twitter spaces and you tell them that, hey, we want to hear your story and what you did, and this will also encourage other community members. So this leads to like a ripple effect in the community. Then I also think it comes down to empowering your mods and community managers to facilitate discussions and conversations that will enable the value exchange that I just spoke of. So whether that's in the form of like a prompt, or just sharing an article about something that's meaningful to them, or having like a mini job board, or having a community grant where like you can essentially provide a little bit of funding to someone who wants to do cool things for the community, can go a long way. So like small things like that, I think, contribute to value exchange.
Yeah, for sure. Just making people like just stacking up as much value, like organic value, like people, like having a community for people to go and hang out in. I think that's extremely valuable for a lot of people. Like having a little online place that no matter what, they can go in there. They have all their friends in there. They have a bunch of people that they know. They form these relationships. They feel loved, right? Like we all know money can't buy love, right? So like if you feel loved in a community, sometimes I think that might be a big way that people may overlook and like for even just forget about the price of the NFT. Like what, I'm never selling this anyways. Doesn't even matter what the price is for me. So like I guess doing those smaller things is probably a big way. What's the key? What's like a big challenge? What are your biggest challenges being a community manager of World of Women? What's like, so that's it's a lot to manage, right? It's a very big community, in the spotlight all of the time, right? You guys are doing huge things. I'm sure there's a lot to manage, right? But what are some of your biggest challenges doing that?
So, as the community manager, I do manage one on one relationships with community members. So, I think one of my challenges is just keeping all that data in my head and finding a way to make it visible to our other team members. Like, okay, yeah, I know, okay, who's the best jeweler in the community? Who's the best at animation? Who's the best at like book recommendations? I know all of that in my head, but how do I communicate this with the people in the team so that they have visibility when I'm off? And how do I take time to disconnect? So these are a few things that I've like struggled with in the past, but I'm getting better. And another thing, so my role as community manager is not just to like manage the community, it's also to oversee our communication strategy. Up until May, it was just me and Adelina, who's our director of comms, managing like the Discord, the Twitter, the Instagram, the LinkedIn, all that good stuff, all that good stuff. So we are the ones who also plan announcements. So World of Women is one of the most like communicative NFT projects. Like we try to communicate something on a daily basis. So just planning all that out and making sure that we have consistent engagement on it, especially during a bear market, is kind of challenging because like you want to give updates to your community, but you don't want it to be so frequent that they're saturated to a point, you know, and that they stop paying attention because they're like, oh, World of Women is doing its thing. So that's something that is kind of challenging. And then we have a lot of partners, and that means we have to communicate a lot externally about what's going on with those partnerships. And sometimes there is just no update because it's been a while since we chatted. So, and then the community keeps asking that, oh, what's going on with that partnership? Is it a rug? So dealing with that now and then is kind of challenging as well.
For sure, for sure. Well, I'm sure there's a lot to handle. There's a lot to handle when it's a project that big, you know, within such a large community. So it's super cool what you do and how well you've managed it. Because obviously, if World of Women is thriving, you're something a big part to do with that. So if somebody is watching this right now and they're looking to start their own NFT project, they want to create their own community, what would be like your biggest tip of advice? Let's do something tangible, like a way for them to grow their community if they're at zero right now. Like, how do you get those first community members to join and stay and be really loyal? Because I know building that rock is really important to grow the bigger community around it.
Yeah, I think like before you build a community, it's also important to A, build an audience, and B, have a mission, and then C, communicate with your audience about that mission on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and your first audience members or your like, I'm calling them audience members because they aren't really in your community yet, like you haven't converted them just yet into that funnel. So the way to get audience members is to engage with other people in the space. So if you have like a set of 5 to 10 idols, okay, I have this whole thing about how you shouldn't idolize anyone, but if you have 5 to 10 people that you really look up to in this space, follow them, engage with their content, engage with people who engage with their content, and find people that think like you, find people that are going to like what you're about, find people that you know will receive value from what you have to give, and just speak to them. Start that DM, you know, like get to know who they are, what they want, and have these like individual relationships. What I'm explaining right now is basic networking. So just begin with that and then proceed to start communicating about what your mission is. Write tweets, you know, like posts on Instagram, you know, if video is your medium, make the most of that. And this can be your own thoughts, or it can be about your mission, or it can just be like building in public, because a lot of the cool projects out there started off with their founders building in public, that like day one, this is what I'm up to, day two, this is what I'm up to, day three, I made the first sketch of the final product. This is probably very different from what it's going to look like at the end, but here's like a behind the scenes clip for you, and give those people something to share. And then when they share it, their audience is going to look at you, click on your profile, come to it, and see what you're about. So one of the things to also do is like have a good and updated profile, have like an organized plan for your comms, and yeah. comes down to consistency as well.
Sorry, we're having some technical issues with it. It's like for whatever reason the sound on the live stream sounds like there's like a million people talking right now. Kenny, do you know how to fix that?
No, John just told me that you can hear both voices at the same time and it just keeps layering.
Okay, sounds good. I think what we'll do, because this part's also recording just on my desktop, so I think that on the live stream it's just sounding like that on the live stream, not on the recording. So what we'll do is we'll finish up this conversation and we'll just have it recorded. Then I'll end the live stream and I'll just restart again afterwards, and people can go back and watch this portion of it, the recorded version. So yeah. So where were we at? We were talking about community. So you said you also managed, at least, for a little while, the Twitter and the Instagram, the LinkedIn. What are some good ways you found to grow on Twitter and grow the community on Twitter?
I think what really sort of worked for us was posting about art and like visual content. Like people seem to really like great art. And one of the reasons why our Twitter grew was because we used to tweet every day, like, just tweeting about what's going on a daily basis. And people look forward to that. We also, like, from the beginning, not from the beginning, okay, like since for a year now, we've had very strong branding and like an organized profile. So I think that's super important as well. And then the other thing that we love doing is just following our community members. They love it when we just, if they've changed their PFP to a WoW or a WoWG, we have a tool that can track that. So we hit them with a follow and it makes their day. So they tweet about it, and then of course that gets shared with their audience and people just discover your brand through that. So yeah. And on Instagram, I'm actually very proud to share that I grew the account from like, I think 5,000 to 75,000. And the best, like the way we did that was just posting every single day. Like at least I try to never miss a day, like Monday to Sunday, something has to go out. I don't care if we don't have something new to share. Like we're just going to recycle a piece of content and make sure that they're getting something. And the idea with Instagram is just to make stuff as shareable as possible. When you've been doing it for so many years, it becomes kind of obvious to you. I think Joey, you have some experience with this as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Instagram was definitely like one of our biggest channels, especially around launch time. I mean, it gets a lot of hate from NFT people. NFT people like to hate on Instagram a lot, but I was thinking about the other day. I was like, well, there's all these social medias. Like if I'm using Instagram, Twitter, and like YouTube or whatever, I'm the same person using all three of these. It's not like just because I'm on one app, I'm not gonna like something all of a sudden, right? Like you can reach a massive NFT audience on the actual, like you can reach a massive audience of NFT people on Instagram. Like most people who are into NFTs have Instagram, right? So people, like when you're building your community, don't just think you only have to use Twitter just because all the NFT people are on Twitter, right? But that's really cool. So do you post a lot of like, do you have any of the like, you share some of the hacks for like story views and stuff, like posting polls or things like that? Like are there any little tricks you do to get the engagement up or get the views up?
Well, I don't really see them as tricks anymore. It's just become like second nature at this point. But I like using all of IG's features. So whether that's Instagram music or like a question sticker, it's always good to ask your community questions or make like really like silly polls. Like they might be super obvious to you, but it's always like people like clicking on shit and it increases your engagement. So just do more of that. Repost stuff that your community tags you in on your stories. They love being shouted out like that. But make sure that you're not doing like 100 of those in a day, because then if people see you posting way too much, they're probably going to mute you. So just find that balance. And honestly, I don't think we've played around with stories as much as I would have liked to. I do it a bunch on my personal account, but with WoW, it's just like art related posts or like reels. We've been doing so many reels, And we're trying to figure out like what the best type of content is, because I feel like we haven't nailed down that component yet. So that's like one of the missions that I'm on. But yeah, it's like you said, Instagram is a great way to build your community. And one of the cool things about World of Women is that we have a lot of women in the community, clearly, and they kind of hate Discord. Like they're just like, we're not opening that shit every day. But if we post on Instagram, they're likely to see it and engage with it and like say something sweet in the comments. So yeah.
Yeah. I guess I didn't even think about that. I guess, women probably on average use Instagram more than any other social media, like more than Twitter or Discord.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if that's a stat, but it's a pattern that I've seen. Like we met at VCon, right? I met like a bunch of other women at VCon and who hold like World of Women, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not on the Discord," and I was shocked because I was like, "How do you get the info?" And they're like, "Yeah, I mean, you post everything to Instagram, right?" And I was like, okay, we don't post everything, but maybe we should start doing that just so that like you guys don't miss out on stuff. Because there's stuff like raffles and giveaways that are usually Discord only, but we realized that okay, like a bunch of these women are just not opening the Discord,
Yeah.
and we need to fix that. So
yeah, like just not checking on the Discord super often, but maybe you should, like if you're doing like a little event in the Discord, you can just kind of post on your Instagram like, hey, here's a link to the Discord, by the way, we're doing this, and then maybe they'll join in and do that. But not just super active looking at every announcement, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what else, as you were building the community for World of Women, you ever had to deal with like a lot of FUD at once, like because I want a lot of people watching this appeal like launching their own projects, right? So as they're launching, inevitably there's like misunderstandings, would be some FUD or something. How do you recommend like handling that like in the community, like
I
people
think,
getting there's I'm
yeah.
sure, let's just say that like just people getting out of hand in the community. There's always somebody coming in. Maybe they're a troll, maybe they're not. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, right? Like, how do you deal with
Yeah.
those situations?
I personally have a lot of empathy for trolls, but that's just how I look at the world. This advice may not apply to you, so don't take it to your heart. But the way I look at trolls is that this person took time out of their day to come to my Discord and to actively talk shit about something that they don't understand. So I'm